Hi, class. Well, I'm going to go over a little bit on chapter 5. And the thing is that before 2020, we had a simpler W 4, which you would just basically check off single or married, and you would put the number of dependents. And then you would go to these tables. By the way, this is from your textbook, it's Appendix C. And I also have put a PDF file in your chapter resources for this chapter, the Appendix C. And of course, it's accessible um, through Connect when you click um, the Appendix C reference, and you can download it onto your computer. I would suggest that. But before 2019 or earlier, and there's still some employees that are on that, we would go to the appropriate uh, table, which would be either weekly. We would have another one for um, bi weekly, and then semi monthly, and then monthly, and you would have one for married and one for single. And you would go to the taxable amount, which would be, of course, your gross wages minus anything anything that are pre-tax for federal tax purposes, such as your 401k contribution and your cafeteria plan contribution or anything like that. You would get the amount, and then depending if they're married and what pay period it is and how many allowances they're claiming, let's say that if somebody was making 830, so we would go to 830, and let's say that they have two, I'm sorry, one allowance, then we would deduct $17 for the federal income tax. So that was fairly simple, okay. But then um, 2020 came along, and a new W fork was instituted due to the Tax Act. That was when President Trump was there, and they passed the legislation. So you have some employees that are on W-4s that are 2019 or earlier, and some that are 2020 or later. And if you revise your W-4 right now, of course you would be now on the form, on the new form, even though you were on the old form. And it takes into consideration whether uh, if you're married, if both spouses are working, or if you have multiple jobs. So it's a little bit harder to figure out. So that's where we run into this chapter being a little bit more challenging. But so I'm not going to go over these because these are sort of fairly simple. And then you've got two methods for 2020 and after. Okay, so I'm just going to go through all of these right here. There's quite a few. Let me see. So all of these are 2019. Unless I have to go the other way. Okay. So then this is 2020 or later. And you have two methods. You have the percentage method, and then you also have, so the percentage method I'm not going to discuss right now. I'll try and make another video on that. And then you've got the, let me see, I think that's towards the beginning. The one that's most commonly used, and sorry for having to scroll through all of these, but it's the wage bracket. Okay, the wage bracket method, and you're going to have it for different payroll periods, whether it's daily, whether it's you've got semi-monthly, you've got monthly, and then you've got bi-weekly, and then you've got weekly, and then you've got married filing jointly, head of household single, or married filing separately. And your W-4 is going to have two boxes. Um, well, if you don't check the box, you get the standard withholding. But if Form W-4, if Step 2, the checkbox withholding is checked, uh, the checkbox withholding, then you would use this column. So it makes it a little bit more complicated in that you have to make sure that you're reading the problem correctly, and that you know whether that box is checked or not. Okay. So I'm going to work out a problem. It's directly out of your homework. I'm not going to do all of it. I'm just going to do the um, the federal withholding. Okay, and I think it's semi-monthly. And you can use. I developed a spreadsheet, and I'm going to attach it in your announcements along with a link to this video. And I'm going to go through this and show you how to use it. So we're going to go to. Let me see if I have it here. Yeah, make sure all the windows. Okay, so we've got this was from your required homework, Series A, and they tell you that these are biweekly. Okay, so and they have their state tax rate, and if they choose to participate in the cafeteria plan, the deduction per pay period is 100. Otherwise, there is no deduction for the cafeteria plan, and it qualifies under Section 125, which would mean it would be pre-tax. And so, and it says box 2 is not checked. Okay, so that box is not checked, and the dependents are under 17, which is important. So what I'm going to do is right here. Okay, so here, this one, it says no cafeteria plan. So the gross earnings, are going to be 2,500. Okay, in this situation, the gross earnings, it's the same employee, but they have a cafeteria plan. It would be 20. It would be 2,500, but then we would deduct 100, and the taxable amount would be only 2,400. Or in this case, it would be 2,500. Okay, so that's where we're going to get the amounts that I'm going to need. So I'm going to open up my spreadsheet that I created. And since it's bi-weekly, we have 26 pay period. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm going to put in here 2,500. Okay. That's without the cafeteria plan. I'm going to put in here 26. Okay. Now enter the amount from employees W4. Um, we W4 step A. We're going to leave that blank. We're going to leave that blank, and we're going to go. Um, we're going to leave that blank, and we're going to go over here to 2A. So it says use the amount of line 1H to look up the tentative tax. So where am I going to go? I'm going to go to my tax tables, and I think this individual is married. How do I know they're married? Because let's go back to the problem. It says married filing jointly right there. So I'm going to go to the table, and I'm going to go to biweekly. I hope I didn't pass it. Okay, there's biweekly, and it was 2,500, right? So I'm gonna go over here. So it's right here, 24.95, 25.20, and we know that they are married filing jointly, and the box is not checked. So let's see, it was 2,500. So we're going to get that number. Let's see, 24.95 and 25.20. We're gonna get that number, which is 166. So we're gonna enter the 166 here. Okay, now where does this come from? From the W4. So what did they tell you? They told you that this individual had two dependents that were under the age of 17. So how do I know what that amount is? Well, this is from your textbook. And they tell you, this is what they're saying right here. If you have a qualifying child under the age of 17, it's 2,000 each. Okay, so this individual has two. So we're going to put 4,000. Okay. And so the tax that you're going to enter for federal withholding is going to be 1215. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to enter here 1215. 1215. Okay. So going to check my work just to show you. And we got it correct. Of course, we still need to fill out all the other columns, but this is the hardest column to fill out. Okay, so let's go back to the question. And now it's, what if they do contribute to the cafeteria plan? Well, then we're going to go here and we're going to put 2,400. It's still 26. And we're going to go all the way down. Now we got to go back to that table and we got to look up 2,400. So we're going to go, I think it's right here, 2,400. 23.95 to 24.20, and it gives us 154. So we're going to put in here 154. We also know that it's 4,000. So the amount that we're going to deduct for federal income tax is 15 cents. Okay, and so we're going to go back over here and put 15, and it should check out. So we're going to check my work, and it should check out. All right. So far, so good. So let's go ahead and do the other individual. No cafeteria plan. So we're going to go back to this. But this time, this individual is single, no dependents, okay? Or no allowances. So we're going to put here 2,500. So the taxable wages are 2,500. Now we're going to go to a spreadsheet and fill in. So we know that it is 2,500, 26. We're going to go over here. Now we're going to go to the tables. So 2,500. So it's right here, 24.95, 25.92. But I'm going to go all the way over here because that is where the single or married filings separately is. So that's going to give you 273. So we're going to put 273. There's nothing. There's no dependent, so we can leave that blank or put in 0. So the amount we're going to deduct is $273. So we're going to go back to our problem and we're going to deduct 273. So if I check my work, okay, check my work, and be careful with using your check your works because I do limit the number, okay. So check my work and it's going to give us 273 and we're correct. Now with the other one, it's going to be still 2,500, but we're going to deduct 100. So 2,500, we're going to deduct 100. So that's going to give us 2,400. And now we go to our table. So we go to our spreadsheet. We're going to put here 2,400. We're going to put 26. And now we're going to look up the tax, okay, the tentative tax. So we're going to go to 2,400, which is 23.95, 24.20, and we're going to go to the last one, which gives us 251. So we're going to put in 251, no dependents. So the tax that we withheld is 251. Let me go back to the problem. 251, and if we check my work, I think all the federal withholdings will be okay. So then the rest is up to you, what you need to complete. But at least I wanted to show you how this spreadsheet that I developed, you can use it to easily identify the federal withholding only if they use the wage bracket method. And it is after 2020. I don't think you have any problems that are prior 2020 because those are easier to figure out. So I hope this video helped you and will help you complete some of your homework. Thanks.